I call the annual meeting to order. I would like to introduce Reedfield Town Clerk Robin Lint, who will assist me in the election of the moderator. I entertain a motion to nominate a moderator to preside at the meeting.
I'd like to move to nominate Richard A. Spencer as moderator to preside at the said meeting.
Second, the motion?
You have to read.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, I will pass out some ballots. And right here, waiting for a moderator now. Did you guys hear the name? That's me. You want to repeat the, which guy?
I'm right here.
Certainly.
Oh,
Do you want?
repeat his name so people know.
Richard Spencer. Okay. Okay, you ready for the oath?
I'm ready for the oath.
Okay. Do you, Richard Spencer, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as moderator of the RSU number 38 budget meeting on May 17th, 2017, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine?
I do.
So you need to sign that. And you're on, right?
Thank you, everybody. I'm Richard Spencer, and I always sweat out these elections, but I appreciate your votes. And the first order of business is for me to swear in the ballot clerks. So I would ask them to raise their right hands. Do you swear to support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as ballot clerk of the RSU 38 budget meeting on May 17th, 2017, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine? So help you God. Okay. Yes. So the second order of business is to establish the rules of procedure for the meeting. And unless there's objection, I would follow the rules of the Maine Moderator's Manual as modified by applicable provisions of Maine law. And the only major difference between the Moderator's Manual and the Maine law on school budget meetings is that if 10% of the people at the meeting request a written ballot on any article, then we have to have a written ballot on that article. So that's a different procedure for a school budget meeting than for a town meeting. As a general rule, only voters may speak at the meeting, and only residents of the district may speak at the meeting unless the meeting votes to allow others to speak. And I'm going to request a motion to allow some of the non-resident administrators of the district to speak in case questions come up concerning their areas of expertise. And that would be Jeff Boston, who's the principal for the Reedfield and Wayne Elementary Schools, Rick Hogan, principal of the middle school, Nancy Harriman, director of curriculum, and Steve Vos, the director of adult ed. Is there a motion to allow them to speak at the meeting?
I move to allow the non-resident administrators to speak as noted by the moderator.
Is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. That approves allowing them to speak. Let me quickly summarize how we'll proceed on the meeting. There'll be a budget overview presented by the board chair and the superintendent, and then we'll take up each article in turn. One of the board members will read each article and request a motion in a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion on that article. If anyone wants to make an amendment to an article, they can do that. And what we'll do is take up the amendment to the motion first and then the main motion. And because it gets too confusing, I won't entertain an amendment to an amendment or an amendment to an amendment to an amendment because it's just too hard to follow. So what we'll do is vote on each amendment, and if the amendment passes, then if someone wants to make another amendment, they can, and we'll vote on that. And I think we'll vote by the yeas and nays on most of the articles, but Articles 13 through 16, which are the articles to raise funds, are required by law to be acted on by a recorded vote. No one, including me, knows exactly what that means, but what we think it means is that at least the number of voters for and against have to be counted. So that's the way I will handle that. And then Article 16, which is the additional local funds article, has to be voted on by a written ballot. And so we'll vote on that article by written ballot. And with that, I think the board chair and the superintendent will present an overview of the budget.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad to see you here this evening to consider the budget for fiscal year 2018. We've been working on the budget for several months now, and I'll just review the process for you. Our first budget meeting was January 4th, and this is when we set a goal. And the goal is promoting student success in all areas as we strive for academic excellence while maintaining fiscal responsibility. At that time, at our first meeting, the administrative team presented the first proposed budget. And this is what the administrative team puts together. It's kind of a wish list, but it's more than that, because it's what is determined to be necessary to meet our goal. And then we spend 3 more meetings where the administrators give presentations explaining the budget requests. And at this time, we have a chance to ask questions, and it's a funny process because we know we're going to end up wanting to cut the budget, but at the same time, while we're listening, we want to say, oh, can we do more? And so we sort of have to moderate as time goes by and discuss almost every possible addition to the budget. After we had those meetings with presentations, we also met with area boards of selectmen to get their input on the budget. And this year, much of the emphasis of our discussion with the selectmen was what to do if the state were to give more money to the district than was originally told, that we were originally told they were going to allocate. And we don't know the answer to that yet. We probably won't know till June. But at that meeting, we discussed that it would be the intention of the board to take that money and then not charge the towns for it before, and that information would be available probably before the town set the mill rate. Alternatives would have been, we could have found new programs to spend new money for. We didn't do that. Or we could have saved the money for next year's budget. But this is the first time we were able to make that decision. So when you review, when you look at the budget and you see what impact it will have on the various towns, hopefully the impact will be less than what we presented in the annual report, but we're obligated to give you the worst-case scenario. So we started off, I don't know what is up behind me, but we started off with a budget that was an 8.55% increase over fiscal year 2017. And then we ended up April 12th with an increase substantially less, 4.39%. And so that's the budget. The reason it came down was because we eliminated things that maybe we could put off, like one replacement bus and some of the computers and some other part-time positions and stuff. But the big relief that we got was that the cost of health insurance didn't go up at all. So, so that was fortuitous. So do you have up there what the board reduced the budget by? And I think many of you know this, but our process as we go through this is to report online what happens. Donna writes budget updates after every budget meeting. We're on YouTube after every budget meeting, if you want to catch every word we have to say. I've watched a couple of them for 5 minutes here and there. I've been a little embarrassed, and I don't watch any more of them, but you're always welcome to do that. So that's our process. You have your annual report, which details everything that we're going to go through the rest of the evening. Thank you.
So I would like to share with you some of the history of the district that will add to your understanding of the budget. These charts have also been published on our RSU 38 website under the budget piece. So the budget represents both expenditures and revenues. Revenues come from state subsidy, from funds coming in from sources such as tuition, payment for services we provide to other districts, from transportation revenues, and from local dollars. And then we have the expenditure side of the budget, and the expenditures represent what needs to be expended in order to provide our students with educational and co- and extracurricular opportunities. State subsidy is based on valuation and enrollment. And the best case scenario is if enrollment is up and valuations are down. While our enrollment dropped slightly, valuations in each town were up. We live in a very beautiful area with many lakes, and we have to pay for that. As a result, our valuations have been on the rise. This year, we were notified by the state that our state subsidy is down $227,161. Our subsidy report, ED 279, reflects many changes that were recommended by the governor. The one of particular concern to us is the removal of what they call systems administration costs from the subsidy formula. Responsibility for this is now on the local taxpayers. These costs include salary and benefits for central office staff, not including special ed staff, school board cost, contracted services for legal services and audits, and legal liability insurance. The RSU 38 expenditure budget hit a high in FY07 and continues to decrease until the FY12 budget. Then the FY15 budget dipped slightly with the freezing of salaries and the cutting of several positions. Recently, we have new state laws regarding proficiency-based diplomas, and that has resulted in the need for more supports for our students. The state now, for example, the state now requires a proficiency in a second language in order to graduate. Starting with our freshman class, students will need to demonstrate that they have met standards in order to graduate. Included in this budget is an additional foreign language teacher and a part-time math interventionist at the elementary level, and those two positions would support students as they work towards meeting the standards. So enrollment is the piece of that controls our subsidy. Many districts in Maine have been facing significant enrollment decreases. Our actual enrollment, including non-resident students, has decreased only 11 students since last year. This really represents less than one student per grade level. The remainder of the slides describe the expenditure articles, which are Articles 2 through 12, and then the revenue articles 13 through 16. So please make sure as we're talking about the articles, there will be a description of each of those articles on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
I think we're ready to proceed to the articles. I think it might be helpful if I just gave you a quick overview of the way the articles are set up. The first 11 articles are expenditure articles, which authorize the board to expend money in the different line item categories that are set forth in the warrant. And that's the expenditure side of the budget. And then there are 4 articles that actually raise the funds in order to provide the district with the funds to make those expenditures. And Article 13 is the article that includes the state subsidy funds plus the local share of those funds. Article 15 raises funds for the food service program, and Article 16 is the additional local article that provides the additional local dollars required to fund the budget as proposed. After that, there's Article 17, which is a summary budget article. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. My name is Jeff Furman. I'm from Mount Vernon, and I have I guess it's a point of order question.
Sure.
I can't hear what anybody's saying, so I may be totally out of line here. But my question is this. The state subsidy for K-12 education is probably going to be significantly increased with respect to what has been proposed thus far and upon which this budget is based. So my question is, when do I stand up and ask that question as to how the school board is going to deal with a much increased subsidy than the subsidy upon which this budget is based?
Well, I think you just asked the question.
I'll take that question if you'd like, Mr. Moderator.
Sure, go ahead.
Whatever additional funds we receive from the state after we pass this budget is money that we will not ask the towns to contribute. It's Article 18 in the warrant. That's the one where I said we have a choice of spending additional money for a new program. We're not going to do that. Or we have a choice to save it for next year. We're not doing that. We're going to reduce it from reduce that amount of money from the amount that we ask the towns to contribute in addition to the normal mill rate charge.
And if I could elaborate
Did
on...
that answer, Jeff?
That answers the question, Terry. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here this evening. This man is one of the people responsible for that referendum that said the state should pay 55% of the cost of education. Yay, Jeff! They have yet to do it, but we're still hoping for that.
Jeff, if I could elaborate on that answer, Article 18 would actually be a vote of this meeting to use the additional state subsidy to reduce the assessments to the towns. If you approve Article 18, that's what would happen to the funds. If you don't approve Article 18, then the additional state subsidy would go into undesignated fund balance and be available for next year's budget. So are we ready to move to Article 2?
Yeah, well, I would move to adopt Article 2 as recommended. I didn't know if he was going to say anything more on it. All right.
I was under the impression that a board member was going to read each article and then move its adoption.
Okay, well, this article includes negotiated salaries and benefits for regular education and instruction, instructional staff, supplies, professional development, contracted services, and copier maintenance costs.
Okay, and so you've moved a recommendation of $7,453,562.
You have to read the top part.
Yes?
Yes.
Is there a second on that?
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve $7,453,562 for Article 2. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 2 as recommended, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Article 2 is approved.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Okay, Article 3, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for special education, the school board recommends $2,172,749. I believe there's an explanation.
I move to adopt Article 3 as recommended. And this article, second, we need a second.
I second it.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for special education, administration, and instructional staff, special education legal costs, tuition costs for out-of-state district placements. Special education provides services as required by law.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board recommendation of $2,172,749. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 3, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Article 3 is approved. Article 4, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for career and technical education, co-op pathways program, and capital area technical center tuition. The school board recommends $0. I might say this seems a little ridiculous, but the law requires the article be included in the warrant.
I move to adopt Article 4 as recommended.
I second it.
So the state of Maine has changed the funding and expense for CATC, so we no longer need to budget for this article.
So is there any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to appropriate nothing for Article 4. Is there any discussion? I think probably there are kids that go to it, but that it's funded directly by the state as opposed to having the district have to raise funds for it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Any further discussion on Article 4? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 4 is approved. Article 5, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for other instruction, co-curricular, extracurricular, and regular education summer instruction. The school board recommends $437,758.
I move to adopt Article 5 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes activities in the middle school and high school, such as sports, plays, math team, speech and debate, student senate. The expenses in this article are for coaching salaries, official services, supplies, equipment, dues, and fees. This article also includes salaries and benefits for summer regular education instructional programs.
Article 5 has been moved and seconded in the amount of $437,758. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Does that include boys lacrosse, or do they still have to pay to play at Kent's Hill? Does anybody know?
The question is, does that include boys lacrosse?
They are still self-funded, so they do have to pay.
So the girls can play here, but the boys have to pay to play at Kent's Hill?
It's the girls, they're both self-funded?
Yes.
Yeah. Both self-funded. So they both have to pay to play.
Yeah, that's not the question. The question is, the girls can play on the Veronica grounds. The boys' team is not allowed to, and they have to pay to play their games at Kent's Hill. So is that included in this, or is that different?
The athletic director's assistant director.
I believe it has something to do with the boys' team is a varsity team, and they have field requirements, and the girls' team is a JV team, so they can play on a smaller field that's available in the spring. That's all that.
We can get an answer for Peg and get back to her, right?
Yeah. We can get more information on that and get back to you.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion on Article 5?
Can you have them ask the question at the microphone, please, Mr. Malloy?
Sure, if you could come up and ask the question at the microphone, that would be great.
Oh, you can't.
It's right over there in the circle.
I just wanted to know why, or what you're paying $400,000 over $400,000 for. I see, it doesn't make sense that we're paying $400,000 for these few things that you're doing.
So the question is, what is the $437,000 for?
Well, if you look at the description, it talks about
what I did.
coaching salaries, official services, supplies, equipment, dues and fees, salaries and benefits for summer programs.
So I think the answer is it covers all of
All of those things.
co-curricular and extracurricular activities in the summer instruction. Further discussion of Article 5.
This may be a moot point, but in Article 9, it talks about transportation. I know we're not there yet, but I just wondered if this article, Article 5, includes transportation for these teams to travel, or does it not? Or is that included in the Article 9?
No, it does, in Article 5.
Article 5 includes
Yes.
that, okay. Thank you.
Further discussion on Article 5. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 5 in the amount of $437,758, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Article 5 is approved. Article 6, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for student support, guidance, health, technology, and staff support, improvement of instruction and staff training, curricular, library, and assessment. The school board recommends $1,711,415. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 6 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for staff and directors in the above-mentioned departments, district-wide professional development, NUIA, and other assessment testing and supplies.
Is there any further discussion on Article 6? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of $1,711,415 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 6 is approved. Article 7, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for system administration, school board, and superintendent's office. School board recommends $609,435.
I move to adopt Article 7 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for central office staff, school board stipends, contracted services for legal and audit, legal liability insurance, supplies for school board and central office.
Is there any discussion on Article 7? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 7 in the amount of $609,435 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Nay. Article 7 is approved. Article 8, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for school administration, principal's offices. School board recommends $958,788.
I move to adopt Article 8 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for principals and secretaries, principal professional development, accreditation costs, supplies, dues, and fees.
Article 8 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of $958,788, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 8 is approved. Article 9, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. The school board recommends $955,374.
I move to adopt Article 9 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salaries and benefits for transportation administration, mechanic and bus drivers, mandated physical and drug testing, repairs, vehicle insurance, fuel supplies, and lease purchase payments.
Article 9 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 9 is approved. Article 10, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance, the school board recommends $2,268,107.
I move to adopt Article 10 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salaries and benefits for maintenance, administration, and custodians, utilities, electric, oil, propane, telephone, contracted services for snow plowing, heating systems, and roof monitoring, building repairs and projects, painting, and lease purchase payments of energy retrofit projects.
Is there any further discussion on Article 10? Yes, sir.
Can I ask?
Could you identify yourself
sorry.
before you ask the question?
My name is Richard Fine, and I live in Manchester. In Article 10, Terry, you, in your letter, had mentioned the Manchester school and the fact that it was a very open process. I received several letters from the school district about the fact that the mold had been mitigated and all the things that had been done. But I just wanted to know how that was that paid for? Is that paid for out of that this maintenance budget therefore?
Well, I believe that part of it was paid out of this year's, not the proposed budget,
Right,
but
right,
out
right.
of this year's budget, yes.
Okay. Because it seems like that would be a lot of expense. I don't know how much was expended, but I just wondered how you covered the cost of that in this last budget, given that it was probably a fair amount of money, I guess. I don't know, but.
We kind of put off other things to take care of that. We juggle.
For example, we had in the budget last year a repair of the tennis courts.
Right.
And we put that off.
I see,
So there were several things that we did put off.
By the way, Terry, I really appreciated your statement that you had made in the letter that you had written here about the Manchester School, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Richard.
Is there further discussion on Article 10? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of $2,268,107, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Article 10 is approved. Article 11, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends $557,687.
I move to adopt Article 11 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes bond payments on school construction projects, including the middle school construction, high school addition, and renovations, and additional athletic fields that were approved by referendum.
Is there further discussion on Article 11? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of $557,687, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Article 11 is approved. Article 12, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, food services, reimbursable transportation. School board recommends $88,033.
I move to adopt Article 12 as recommended.
I'll second it.
This article includes local dollar support for the food service program and reimbursable transportation provided for RSU 38 towns and recreation programs.
Is there further discussion on Article 12? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of $88,033 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 12 is approved. Now, does everybody have a copy of the warrant who's here so that you can see what these articles are? Or is there anybody that doesn't? Because if everyone has a copy of them, I would entertain a motion to waive the reading of Article 13.
So moved.
It's been moved to waive the reading of Article 13. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of waiving the reading of Article 13, is there any discussion first? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So is there a motion on Article 13?
Yes, I move to adopt Article 13 as recommended.
Second.
So this is a state-mandated explanation. RSU 38's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essentials Program and Services Funding Act, is the amount of money determined by state law to be the minimum amount that RSU 38 must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars. In other words, this article gives the minimum amount that each town will pay based on the ED 279, which is the state subsidy report, and that RSU 38 must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars.
Is there any further discussion on Article 13? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 13 as recommended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, I have to back up. This article is required to be voted on by a recorded vote. So I'm going to have to ask you all to raise your hands if you're in favor of it, and then ask the ballot clerks to count the votes. This is like an exercise class.
Paper out.
Before you do it again, I'm going to ask all those opposed to Article 13 to raise their hands. Since there are none opposed, I think we can have a recorded vote that it was a unanimous vote in favor of Article 13. Article 14, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects, in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the RSU's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-K to grade 12. School board recommends $193,186. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 14 as recommended.
Second.
The state-mandated explanation is that non-state funded debt service is the amount of money needed for the annual payments on RSU 38's long-term debt for major capital school construction projects that are not approved for state subsidy. The bonding of this long-term debt was previously approved by the voters, and this long-term debt included a portion of the middle school construction project, the high school addition, and projects and the athletic fields.
So is there any further discussion on Article 14? If not, I'll ask that everyone who's opposed to Article 14 to raise your hands. Seeing none, I'll ask that everyone who's in favor of Article 14 to raise their hands. I would ask the Secretary to record a unanimous vote in favor of Article 14. Article 14 is approved. Article 15, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate in additional local dollars in support of the food service program. School board recommends $80,000.
I move to adopt Article 15 as recommended.
Second.
This money helps fund the school's food service program.
Is there any further discussion of Article 15?
My name is Sonia Folsom. I'm from Reedfield. What's the difference between 15 and 12?
I may need you to jump in on this. Article 12 is the expenditure, and the other article is the revenue, what we take in, right? Okay.
So the first one authorizes them to spend the money. This one authorizes the district to raise the money so they can expend it. And they must have a balance of $38,033, so they didn't need to raise the whole amount. Further discussion on Article 15. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those opposed to Article 15, raise your hands. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 15, raise your hands. I'll ask the Secretary to record a unanimous vote in favor of Article 15. Article 16, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate in additional local funds recommended $4,441,393, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by recommended $4,189,888, as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. Is there a motion on Article 16?
I move to adopt Article 16 as recommended.
Second.
The additional local funds are those locally raised funds over and above RSU 38's local contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and local amounts raised for the annual payment on non-state funded debt service that will help achieve the RSU 38 budget for educational programs. The funding from the state, $3,167,669, is 27.80% of the total essential programs and services allocation. This allocation covers only a portion of the above-noted programs. This article describes the additional funds that the school district needs to raise to achieve the RSU 38 school district budget.
Further discussion on Article 16? Yeah.
Is the amount that will hopefully be decreased when we receive additional money from the state.
Any further discussion on Article 16? Seeing none, Mr. Herman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Jeff Herman. I live in the town of Mount Vernon. I have a question on this article with respect to exceeding the essential programs and services funding model with respect to two categories. I can kind of understand most of the categories and why the model may not work for co-curricular, some of the other issues, but I'm particularly interested in your explanation, somebody's explanation, as to why the essential programs and services model doesn't work with regard to the school district with respect to the system administration amount, which is being exceeded here by $500,000, and with respect to the basically educational services amount by over $1 million, $1.6 million. If somebody could give me an idea why the model doesn't work. From the world I live in and the work that I do, I'm hoping that the model works, that the model's accurate, that the model is generally reflective of the costs of K through 12 education in each school system. So when I see the models not working in fundamental areas, I wonder why. So if somebody could give me an explanation for that I could hear, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Bridget?
Okay, to address the first one about system administration, it's because the governor took the entire amount out of the subsidy formula.
Excellent explanation, Bridget. I appreciate that. That works for me. What's the other one?
The second one, the amount that we're over in regular instruction, there's probably a multitude of different reasons. One of them is our small schools. We do not have ideal class sizes because we're set up in small schools. I mean, if you take a big school district, they can put 20 kids in a class. We have classes that have 11. We have classes that have 12, you know. If you had one central elementary school, you could even out those classes and reduce the number of teachers.
We also have classes that have 24, so.
Yeah. Also, you know, some of the gearing up that we're doing for the proficiency-based diploma, we've put on, additional coaches and interventionists to help get everything lined up for that. It's mostly the teaching staff. The governor also changed the formula for student-teacher ratios, and so that hurt us even more on that, too. So there were 48 changes made to the ED 279 that the governor made this year. They took away all the money for pre-K. They gave us a little bit more in K2, but they took away everything for pre-K. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And so, there's just so many changes that they've made, but I think the bulk of it is because of our small schools. Our small elementary schools cost us money.
Thank you, that's very helpful. Appreciate it.
Another explanation is that the person who got that 55% approved hasn't been able to get the governor to fund it. Any further discussion on Article 16? Yep. Article 16 has to be voted on by a written ballot. If there's no further discussion, everybody please vote using the white written ballot. And if you're in favor of the article, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote nay.
Fill them all and send them in.
I don't know, is that written on the ballot, or are they? Yes. Okay, so, great. Okay, the results are in. Article 16 is approved by a vote of 65 to 5. Article 17 is the summary article, which summarizes the whole budget and essentially confirms all the votes that you've already taken. To see what sum the RSU will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018, from the RSU's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The school board recommends $17,212,908. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 17 as recommended. Second. So this article authorizes the school board to spend the recommended budget in fiscal year 2018. The school board cannot spend an amount above the authorized budget.
Any further discussion on Article 17? All those opposed, please raise your hand. One opposed. We have to do a recorded vote, so we'll have to count the...
If you get to count the whole thing, I can withdraw that.
Okay.
It's kind of being contrary protesting.
Did you withdraw that vote? All those opposed to Article 17 signify by raising your hand. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. Article 17 is approved by a unanimous vote with one abstention. Okay, we now move to the part of the last three articles, and on these articles, we don't need a recorded vote, so we can go back to the yeas and nays. Article 18, to see if the RSU will reduce the amount raised and assessed as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15688, to the extent of any unanticipated increase in the adjusted state contribution under the Essential Programs and Services Funding Model. The school board recommends a yes vote.
I move to adopt Article 18 as recommended.
Second.
This article authorizes the school board to use the entire additional state subsidy to reduce local assessments.
Any discussion of Article 18? Yes, sir.
My name is Bruce Burgoyne. Thank you for putting forward this article. So this is the article that would, in effect, if the state subsidy is larger, charge municipalities less money going forward in the next fiscal year. Thank you.
That is correct.
Yeah. This would mean that the assessments that the school district sent to the towns would be reduced by whatever the amount of the increase in state subsidy is. Any further discussion on Article 18?
And so my point on that was if there's more than we anticipate, we will receive a smaller bill from the school district as well. And that's the point I was trying to clarify for the audience, I think.
Further discussion on Article 18. This is an article to reduce your taxes.
More elegantly put.
All those in favor of Article 18 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 18 is approved. Article 19, shall the RSU appropriate recommended $190,000 for adult education and raise a recommended amount of $63,000 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental and miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult ed program. The school board recommends that it ought to pass with the recommendations of $190,000 for the total appropriation and $63,000 as the local share. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 19 as recommended.
Is there a second?
This article covers academic as well as enrichment programs offered through the adult education program.
Any further discussion on Article 19? Seeing none, all those in favor of an appropriation of $190,000 with a local share being raised of $63,000 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 19 is approved. Article 20. Shall the school board be authorized to expend other revenue from state, federal, local, and private sources for the support of schools? School board recommends ought to pass.
I move to adopt Article 19 as recommended.
Second.
This article allows the school board to pursue and use funds that may be received through unexpected grants or donations and grant applications that are made by members of the regional school unit, staff, or community. We do not include a specific amount due to the unpredictability of the receipt of the funds and because most are dedicated to a specific project or purpose. Examples of some of the funding we receive in 2016-2017 are Health Center, $36,000, Title 1A, $211,000, Title 2A, $54,000, local entitlement, $358,000, rural income, $26,000, Gear Up, $50,000, and other miscellaneous grants, $10,000. The estimated income for the upcoming year is $745,000.
Is there further discussion of Article 20? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the article signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 20 is approved. Before we adjourn, I would remind you that you do still have the budget validation referendum, right? And is that going to be on June 13th? So even though you've adopted a budget at this meeting, this budget only goes into effect if it's approved by the voters of the district voting in each town at a budget validation referendum, which will be held on June 13th. So you should all be aware of that referendum and that the passage of that referendum is necessary for the budget to be finally approved. Yes, sir.
Some years ago, I think that it was a town-by-town budget approval system. And I think this year it's different, or is that not, is it a system-wide voting, or is it town-by-town?
It's a system-wide vote, but the voting occurs separately in each town. Then the votes are tallied and sent to the school board, and then the school board adds them up and declares whether or not the referendum passed. If there's no further discussion and nothing else to come before the meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn. Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks so much for coming.